And for the first time, I feel, man, I wish I had a drum roll or something, or like a fanfare, like trumpets or things. And we do believe in proper hydration because I was taking a peek at this gentleman before he was getting ready for us here. So we welcome back for the first time in 2026, Michael Parkhurst. How you doing?
Happy New Year, Mr. Nelson.
That's my father. I'm just John. You know that. uh, first and foremost, first and foremost, Happy New Year, sir.
Thank you.
What was Christmas and the holidays like? Did you get the pony that you asked for Christmas? Was it under the tree on New Year's Day?
Well, thankfully, nothing live was under the tree. But yes, we had a very nice holiday. It was a really well time spent away from school. Took some time away from work, and yeah, we enjoyed it. We kids had 2 full weeks off, and it was a long time, but it was a nice time. We really enjoyed it.
All right. So what did you get for Christmas, sir?
What did I get for Christmas? I, John, am always the one to suggest to the wife, hey, let's just not do presents.
How'd that go?
Some years, John, it goes over better than others. This year it went over well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, we obviously are in a position where if things throughout the year, we need it, we get it. And, we don't really live a crazy lifestyle anyway. So I don't even know I got some golf balls.
But you properly lost probably 8 days later?
No, I haven't played. If I did play, I would have lost them, John. But nothing crazy. Yeah, some alcohol and some golf balls. I mean, that's a good Christmas.
Well, I was going to say, especially if you were to be the kind of individual that blends those two activities.
I'm not usually.
Okay, because I'm not either. And let's see, for me, New Year's Day 1990 actually. So it's one of those things that it's like y'all can have that. Oh, this is for me. No, that's for you. I can't I can't go there. You mentioned turning off. How hard is it for a professional athlete to turn off in gap time? When it's like, okay, it's the holidays. I know that, we got family time, season's over, that kind of stuff. How hard is it to hit that light switch and just kind of go, I can shut down for a bit?
Yeah. And it's different when you're a professional athlete. I think that there's levels of turning it off. I don't think that, like right now, where I am in life, I can. Actually, I don't know if I can because I still took Rhode Island calls over the break as we're figuring things out with the roster. But
questions on that too, but we'll get there.
Yeah, but I think that athletes, they live a different lifestyle, and you have to in order to have success. And so you can't completely turn off. And I mean that meaning you still need to run during the off season. You still need to watch what you intake, right?
Moderation.
Yeah, moderation, exactly. And so, you dim it, and you enjoy that. And for most athletes, that's dimming it is similar to us turning it off because they're at such a high level throughout 11 months of the season that when you do get a time to dim it, it does feel nice. And going for a run, going to work out, that's not even really considered really getting after it. That's the bare minimum.
Yeah, because then let me ask you this: once you hit the dimmer switch, how difficult is it to go back and make sure that thing is already up to 11 once again? How hard is it? It's like, man, I really like this. I like not doing A, B, C, D, and E. It's just like, how hard is it to sit there and go 100% after a gap time?
It shouldn't be too tough.
Okay.
That's the benefit of hitting the dimmer is that you get that time away, and that time away should increase the love for the game and say, hey, man, I miss being out there. I miss doing those stuff. I can't wait to get back at it. And if it's not, that's a problem. and either you're in the wrong place or you need to do something to change the mind frame, getting back into things, or yeah, you need to make some lifestyle changes or something, because after you dim or take a break, you should be excited to get back out there. And that doesn't mean, hey, the first day am I excited to wake up at 6 a.m. and get going? No, okay, I get it, right? But you should be there should be some excitement to get back out there, get working, and getting ready for the next season.
So then, with your mentee age, do you get to impress upon them the idea of hitting that dimmer switch? Because I would imagine, when you're 16, 17, 18, 12, all the way up, it's got to be go, 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 go because of internal pressure, whether it's, I've got to be better than this guy. That means I've got to be out there. I've got to be running at 4:30 in the morning. I've got to run 30 miles before 6 a.m. Does that register? Do these conversations register, especially with all the internal and peer pressure and parental pressure and all those kinds of things with mentees these days?
Yeah, for sure. And I just think that there's so many opportunities out there for kids that sometimes it's tough to shut off. Even if the team isn't having outdoor practices, there's indoor trainings, there's optional stuff, there's pickup things, right? There's a lot of opportunities to continue to play. But yeah, that's one of the things Greg and I always encourage. I take time away, get away from it a little bit, go play basketball, go swimming, go be a kid, have fun, get away from the game a little bit. And yeah, I think most of them do that. I do think that they take a little bit of a break and get away from it, which is nice, and it's needed. Because yeah, I mean, they're not at that high level yet of being paid to play and having to do that stuff, so they have to take advantage of not being at that level and getting to turn off instead of dim. Like they can turn off for a little bit, and it's like they're younger, they can regain that fitness quicker, right? And they can get back on the saddle a lot quicker than us old guys.
Yeah. Well, how hard is it to be a kid though these days? I mean, as a dad, I think you could look at it from that perspective. How hard is it to be a kid who's in athletics? But how hard is it to be a kid when you're attached to athletics the way that a lot of these athletes that you mentor are?
Well, my son would tell you that it's very tough, John. I mean, I ask him to vacuum at least once a week. He has to get the mail out of the mailbox all the way down at the bottom of the driveway that he walks past from school. So life is tough as a kid, John.
Yes.
It's not easy.
Well, and I look, I remember, and I imagine you were this way. It's like, it was so tough that you would play outside until the sun went down. And then the only time that you would go inside would be when parental unit is sticking their head out the front door and calling your name. And then you keep playing under the streetlights. And then they'd add a name. It's like, it would be like first name, last name. It'd be first name, first name, dinner's ready. Then after a couple of minutes, poke your head back out the door. First name, last name, dinner's ready, come inside. And then on the third one, when they go full name, then it's time to go inside because there's no other names that they can talk about, and it would be just louder at that point. It's like, John Freeman Nelson, get in this house right now.
Mm-hmm.
The increased element of importance over time.
Now, John.
Yes.
Now.
Yes, exactly.
I'll send a text to my son who's upstairs in the house because I've yelled 3 times and I've gotten no response. And so I'm going to text him because I know he'll see that and get his butt off electronics with buddies and come
downstairs now.
Exactly. To the dinner that he helped none of.
Yes. So at least there's consistency is what you're saying. The idea of spending all that time trying to get out to the mailbox and do all these kinds of things and make sure that, look, the boss here knows that she doesn't want me anywhere near the kitchen. Look, Jason, Jarrett, Nick, and Maddie all know that they don't need me near a kitchen ever. They know this going in. Like literally, they come up with like human shield. They just block the kitchen door. Any opportunity that's like, hey, I'll cook. No, you won't. Because they don't want, like food poisoning or anything. So trust me, I know about but I understand the idea of being involved in family, but I also know the value of being out of the way. and making sure that it's edible. That I definitely understand.
Very true.
When you look at 25 for Beyond Goals, what sticks in your mind about what you and Greg were able to accomplish in 25?
I think there are a few big things. We got the college programming up and running, so we started that. We hired Zara.
Mm-hmm.
We started to do the video analysis on a broader scale, like on a monthly basis. Actually, it was probably bi-monthly basis. So those were three big things that we started last year or did last year that I think are big steps and we're going to continue obviously this year. Yeah, we had, I think, 25% growth for the business, which is great.
There you go.
Yeah, so we're moving and grooving. We've got Zara lined up to go down to Inner Atlanta next week, speak with all the top level of the girls teams down there. Greg will join her there for that, so that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
She's on her way down to Orlando for preseason, so it works out perfectly.
Yes, the purple team as they're getting ready for everything this season. There, you know, what's it like having Zara on board? Because I know it was something that you and Greg had discussed for quite some time, as to add that third leg of the tripod, and it ends up being Zara. Let me go back to what was it that set her apart from everyone else that you were thinking about in that particular position? What set her apart?
Her personality. She, while she was in school, had worked with some youth soccer teams and just likes being around kids, enjoys speaking with them. And that's not for everybody. It can be challenging to speak to kids, and just be good with them and relate to them. You know, it takes a certain person and a personality sometimes, especially for young adults. So that was a very attractive trait of hers. The fact that she had recently gone through the college experience is really beneficial as well. It's new and fresh in her mind as far as that experience, the recruitment period, the life on campus, the adjustments, all those things. We've identified that, you know, obviously in girls soccer, that is the pathway still. And I know that the draft is gone and now there's some younger females going pro, but still in general, the pathway is more towards college than anything else. And so having her on board with that experience recently is important. And, you know, the fact that she still is a pro and just starting off that career in a blossoming league like NWSL, that's beneficial too. I think that it turns some eyeballs when she talks.
Have you and Greg been able to learn anything from her? I know that she's learning from you guys about what it's like to be a mentor in these situations, but how much of a two-way street has that been in the short time that she's been with you?
Yeah, we have. She's impressed us with some of the things that she talks to mentees about. I'll give one example. She did an exercise with one of her mentees about values and what values were important to her and what values are important to the mentee. And so they wrote down 15 values that were important to them. And then they cut it down to 7, and then they cut it down to 3. And so it really had to hone them into, hey, what's most important to you? Why? How does that help you, right? How do we live by those values? How do we bring those on a daily basis type thing? So now that's something that Greg and I have both instituted into some of our mentoring sessions. So yeah, small example of, you know, just different experiences and different viewpoints that people have that, you know, you can always adapt and grow.
You mentioned video analysis, and I know that where with younger individuals, they like to see things. They like the interactive idea of understanding something, and considering how there are individuals in the Parkhurst household that are upstairs and they play games and probably wear headphones to where they're just locked into that kind of stuff. Having that visual addition to what's going on there at Beyond Goals, what was it like for you and for Greg to figure out, okay, here's what we need to do? It's like videos out there, yes, but what do we need to specifically focus on? What was it like to add that dynamic in 25?
Yeah, it was fun. It was more, how do we The toughest part always when you have this broad spectrum is how do you make it simple enough for the younger players and more less advanced players to understand, and yet also have those tips for some of the older players that are a little bit more advanced. Like how do you make sure that everyone is getting something out of it and you're not excluding anybody, whether on one end or the other. So that's always the biggest challenge. I mean, I think finding the clips, understanding what we want to show is that's not the tough part. I think this year will be a little bit tougher now that we've already done it once to find new. How do we advance it? How do we separate it from last year? So we're starting off the year next week, I think, maybe with a defensive third. So instead of doing a exact position, we're kind of analyzing the defensive third, how we play in that area of the field. Where do we take risks? Where don't we? On the offensive side, defensive side, like looking at the back line in general as far as their movement and how they combine with the defensive mids and those types of things. So we're going to start off with thirds and then get into individual positions later on in the year. So yeah, we'll adapt it.
You got zones to look at, you've got lines to look at, and formations being the loose construct that they are. It's like, yeah, it might look like this, but then the whistle blows, it's all and then you get it all out and figured out. I mean, it's I would imagine that trying to find the ideas is easy, but then what you've got to do, what you and Greg and Zara have to do, is break it down to where you're talking with someone, and you don't go in with the notion that they know where you're coming from immediately. You've got to kind of dial it back and take everyone along for this ride, as opposed to assume that, okay, yeah, you know this and you know this, and if I was just to say something, then that would be that you're going to understand where I'm coming from, as opposed to just, all right, we'll dial it back and we'll sit there and we'll take it from absolute A and go A, B, C, D, E. I imagine that would be a bit of an adjustment for you and Greg as well when you started.
Totally. And that's why it helps that we've got the marketing team with us, because sometimes they will be like, hey, have you thought about talking about this? And sometimes it's really simple. And I'm like, no, actually, I haven't. Right. Because we think it's obvious, and it's not obvious to everybody. And so, I think it's nice having people that aren't at a high level sometimes within the group to make sure that we're seeing everything and talking about everything that we can to help players as much as possible.
And when you look back at the questions that were asked of you and Greg and Zara in 25, was there a group of questions or a particular topic that they kept coming back to, meaning all of the mentees on the whole? Was there one or a couple of ideas that kept circling back? Was there a commonality that you guys had to continue to address more often than not last year?
That's a good question. I think that a couple of the top ones for me were, confidence is always the biggest one. Usually it's, how do I get my confidence back? What can I do to improve my confidence? Sometimes, and along those lines is, how do I play better in bigger games? Right? How do I translate, practice? How do I become a game player instead of just a practice player, basically? In other words. And then for the older kids, it's more questions about, what do I need to do in preparation to try and go to college? So those were the main things that I saw repeatedly. And so, for sure, we'll have a little bit more of a focus on some of those things this year.
So how do you get when you and Greg and Zara are talking to these players, how do you tell them to get their groove back? Because, I mean, there's a lot of folks that would sit there, and if the mojo's gone, they're like, they could be trying everything short of going to a fortune teller, trying to figure out how to get it back. When you have those conversations about getting your confidence back after they think they've lost it, even though they might have just kind of misplaced it, and I think there's a difference. What are those conversations like?
Anything from what constitutes a good game, what constitutes a good practice in your eyes, and trying to reframe that, because getting away from goals and assists to, hey, did I work hard? Did I bring a good attitude? Did I control the things I can control? Right? Stacking small wins. You don't have to become the best player, go from the worst to the best, right? We talk about getting to neutral first, controlling the ups and downs within a practice, within games, game to game. So there's a few different tools and outlooks that we try and have depending on who the player is, how old they are, how down they are, where we're just trying to improve slowly on things and just reset the mind frame of what is confidence, how do I perceive confidence, and what in my mind do I have to do to regain this confidence, because a lot of times they think they have to do way too much.
And I think that, to your point, I think that if they think they have to do too much, it might be just taking that first step and understanding that it's a part of that process. You can't just go from 1 to 100. You got to go 2, 5, 10, 15, 20. You can't just jump and think that it's going to be back at 100%.
Exactly. And that's why we talk about small goals too, right? We've got these overarching goals, and okay, but let's dial it down to things that we can control. And so what can we do on a weekly basis to get better? And that can help with confidence too, right? Checking things off a list feels nice and it feels good. So, okay, let's check things off the list this week, right? What can we do to get better, right? Regardless of practice and what's going on and what do you got going on, right? What can we do to get better this week? And, small wins like that can help with confidence too.
Our resident mogul in training, Michael Parkhurst from Beyond Goals Mentoring, dropping by. What was the last book you read?
Ooh, John, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
But
I
am picking up my next book at the library today. I just got the email.
At the library?
Oh, I always use the library, John.
Nice. Where's your card? Where's your library card?
Oh, I always tell them I forgot my library card, and I just give them my ID.
Ha!
I have no idea where my card is. But Essentialism is the book that I'm going to start reading.
Essentialism?
Yes.
Okay, so what in the wide world of sports is essentialism, sir?
I have no idea if it relates to sports at all.
But doesn't necessarily have to, though.
Yeah, but somebody, I can't even remember who right now. Somebody had recommended the book, and I had looked at it briefly, and I thought, you know what? I think this will be interesting to read, because that's my toughest problem, is finding books that I think will be interesting. And I don't like reading fiction. I like reading things that are going to help me or improve me, or that I find like Shoe Dog was really good, interesting to me. And just, I like things that, I don't know, are going to help me in life.
According to the Amazons, Essentialism by Greg McKeown, the disciplined pursuit of less.
Yeah.
Essentialism isn't about getting more done in less time. It's about getting only the right things done.
Yeah.
That's deep, man.
I'll let you know how deep it is.
Well, it's like, have you ever found yourself stretched too thin? Are you often busy but not productive? Do you feel like your time is constantly being hijacked? If you answered yes to any of these, the way out is the, in italic font, way of the essentialist. So Greg McKeown's book is the next one on your list. I get that. Okay.
Yep, I'm going to start it tonight.
All right. Before you get out of here and go and grab the McKeown book on being an essentialist, full disclosure, I have already purchased the sweatshirt that is available from Rhode Island FC.
Thank you, John.
It was an absolute no-brainer. The Hope, Power, Friendship, Providence sweatshirt is out, and it is by Frog and Toad. Collaboration with Providence-based Design Print. All proceeds from the Hope, Power, Providence hoodie benefiting Brown University's Ever True Support Fund, which provides immediate and long-term assistance to students affected by the tragedy that occurred on December 13th of 25. Very, very cool. So obviously, when it gets here, because I think it's already out the door, the next time you visit, I will be wearing it just to let you know. But no, it was a slam dunk for me. I saw this and I'm like, yeah, I'm dropping money to help out. That was a no-brainer for me.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate it. And I'll bring you a jersey when I come down with me. Make sure that you've got one of those.
Oh, see, you would be the man. As you're getting ready for the 26th season, there was a signing yesterday that we mentioned, Leo Afonso.
Yes.
And, he is now in the fold, I imagine, as the inverted left winger, getting to set up that right foot. You got Leo as a part of the conversation here for 26. nicely done. Who you signing next?
We've got a couple guys signed, but the registration and blah 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 blah. We can't announce, but we should announce. We've got one outgoing today, I think. That's a big one, and then we've got one incoming that I think we can announce on Monday, and I don't know when the others are going to be able to announce, but we've got probably 2 or 3 ready to announce when we can, and then we're still working on one more right now, not US based, so
you got to work on the blah 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 with that guy.
Yeah, well, there's always challenges when you're working with some South American clubs
and individuals attached to players, and it's like yeah,
it takes a while.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes going to court, and
oh yeah, what a disaster.
We've hit that one pretty hard, and it looks like Thiago might be heading to Palmeiras, so it looks like there's a possibility that he could be transferred twice before Atlanta United gets paid once.
It's crazy that FIFA has
Yay. Now that we're kind of in that, what's it been like for you as the mogul in training? What did you learn about yourself last season?
Just that you can't assume that communication is going to be had, that you need to be upfront about it and make sure that you're being part of the solution. In that regard, I think we can always get more organized and put better processes in place for different things around the club so that we're doing things in the right, proper manner. I also think we learned that you have to be patient when these teams are going through tough times and you're churning through managers and you're firing coaches so quickly. I won't say myself, but there were some people within the group, where you get nervous when we go through a stretch like we did. We've done it 2 years in a row, right? Where first year we were bottom of the table midway through the season. And even last year we were outside of the playoff table for most of the season. And, mid-season we're not playing well at home. We've opened up the new stadium. We're not scoring. Things aren't going great, and pressure starts to build. But, if you are confident with the people you have and they're doing the right things, you hope that things turn around. And so, in the end, after 2 years, you look back and say, hey, man, we made it to the Eastern Conference semifinals twice. We won it once. It's pretty successful.
So then can I ask you an official question, and you can choose to answer it however you choose to answer?
Sure.
The current disagreement between the Players Association and the league, 38 bargaining sessions, I think, according to the PA, and right now there is no collective bargaining agreement between the players and the league. This is going to be such an overarching question. Where are things right now? What is your level of confidence? This is almost like a 3-parter. Where are you right now in confidence, in discussions, feedback, all of these kinds of things? What's the update on where things stand between the players and the owners in the league right now?
I think we're getting there. I think that there was rightful gripes on the player side with some of the things that some of the teams have done in the past and what they've gotten away with that needs to change. And that's a good thing. And for everybody. And I think that those, for the most part, those changes have been addressed and have been agreed upon. There's still some little things. I shouldn't say little, because obviously they're important enough that agreements haven't been signed. But I do think that an agreement will come before the season. My guess is, just based off of experience and how I was part of the MLS ones, it probably won't get done until closer to the season start, right, where the pressure really mounts.
Hey, training camp's coming. You got one of those.
Yeah, and even, in MLS, we went through preseason without the agreement signed, right? So, you'd love to say that it'll be signed before then, but one side will probably dig in and use that leverage and whatever. But I really don't foresee and wouldn't want either side to do anything, drastic. We want to play games and make sure this league continues to grow in the right way, and players need to be taken care of, no doubt. There's absolute bare minimums that need to be taken care of, and that's a good thing. So I think that some of the things that we're still disagreeing upon, it's not that anymore, which is good. But it's tough being on this side. I feel for the players, and I want them to get what they deserve while also protecting the league, right? Because it's not like we're MLS. Right? We had a team fold last year. So we've got teams that don't have billionaire owners that are losing substantial money every year. So, you have to be a little bit careful as well.
Thank you for that. It was, like I said, with part of the topics and everything, literally, I figured I would ask. And like I said, you could have answered it however you wanted to, but thank you for your candor in that. I know I've kept you into added time, and I apologize for that because I know that you have a fantastic weekend planned, and hopefully it is as quiet or as rambunctious as you wish, and that folks answer texts when they're upstairs when it's time to help out with dinner. It's great to see you, my friend. And
Likewise.
let me know when you're coming down, because then
I will.
we could kind of break bread or something. Who knows?
Let's do it.
All right.
I will let you know.
Be safe, my friend. We'll see you soon.
Hey, John. Have a good weekend.
There goes Michael Parkhurst, everybody. And Parky is for his first visit here in 2026. And it's always good to catch up with him. Remember, at BG Mentoring on the Twitters, beyondgoalsmentoring.com. Greg Garza, started stuff, and I wanted to kind of look back at 25, kind of get geared into 26, and kind of do a review from everything that they've learned, and we'll go from there. But yeah, what I saw over at Rhode Island FC was literally because of this, because of what happened up at Brown University in Providence. It literally popped up into my email. And for me, it was an absolute no-brainer to grab that to help out at Brown University. But yes, their Hope Power Providence hoodie helps out and benefits the Ever True Support Fund for what happened back about a month ago at Brown University. So very, very cool stuff. And it's like I told Parky, next time he's on, I'm going to wear it just to let him know that it made it. So there you go. All right.